Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for joining us this morning for the Chamber's City Update with Mayor Brandon Sakbun. We have over 250 people in attendance. This is one of the largest crowds we've ever had for this annual event, so thank you all for being here today and supporting. You're going to hear about a lot of things today that tie back to our community's collective goals: halting population decline and increasing per capita personal income. These key tenets of the CU and Terre Haute community plan are helping our community, including the City of Terre Haute, spur growth and success. I have an ask for each of you as attendees. Share the good things you hear about today, whether it be with a coworker, neighbor, friend, whether they live here or not. We have so many accomplishments to be proud of. Don't be afraid to share. The programs on the tables succinctly outline many of the positive takeaways from today. Take this information and talk about it and be part of the forward momentum. We should have time for a few questions, depending on how long the mayor speaks, at the end of today's program. So use the QR code on the program to submit your questions. And Josh Alsop from my team will be walking around to call on a few people to ask those. Before we get started with the program, I would like to thank our sponsors who helped make today's event possible. Our title sponsor, AT&T Indiana, who continues to generously support this event year after year. Our supporting sponsors, Ivy Tech Community College, Garmong, Duke Energy, Next Home Real Estate Connections, First Farmers Bank and Trust, Hannick Construction, Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 157, Centerpoint Energy, Terre Haute Casino Resort, and Union Health. Round of applause for our sponsors, please. I'd also like to take a minute and recognize a few elected officials we have joining us today. We have State Representative Tanya Path with us. Representative Bob Heaton. And Senator Greg Good. We also have, I think, all three of our Vigo County Commissioners with us this morning: Chris Schweitzer, Mike Morris, and Mark Klinkenbeer. We have several officials from the City of Terre Haute, including members of the Terre Haute City Council with us this morning. We also have a few members of the Vigo County School Corporation Board of Directors with us as well. And then finally, we have some representatives from our federal legislators, including Diane Powell on behalf of Senator Todd Young, and Mike Myers on behalf of Congressman Larry Bouchon. So thank you all for being here today. Did I miss any elected officials? Vigo County Council, thank you, Tammy, I appreciate that. It's a hard group to keep track of, all the elected officials here today. So also some members of the Vigo County Council, thank you for being here. I also want to welcome to his first event with the Chamber as well, Dr. Mike Goddard, who is joining us today from Indiana State University. Thank you. All right, now I'll be done with all my introductions, and I'll invite Pepper Mulhurin, the Director of External Affairs for AT&T and representative for the Terre Haute community, to the stage for the introduction of the mayor. Pepper.
Thank you, Kristen. So I have the honor of introducing today's keynote speaker. No stranger to any of you, Brandon was born and raised here in Terre Haute, graduated from Terre Haute South Vigo High School, and then went on to Indiana University, where he received his bachelor's degree in finance and became a distinguished military graduate through IU Army ROTC. He also has a master's degree in public affairs from Indiana University O'Neill School. Then in 2018, Brandon joined the United States Army as a second lieutenant and rose to the rank of captain in the Army Rangers. He is currently a member of the Indiana National Guard, and he's the 43rd mayor of Terre Haute, the youngest mayor in Terre Haute's history. He's He's jumped into his role quickly and without hesitation, already accomplishing many things in his first months in office, several of which you're going to hear about today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you today Terre Haute Mayor Brandon Sakbun.
Well, good morning, Hoosiers, and thank you for attending the State of the City update. First, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Peyton Rochelle Sakbun, my wife, Dr. Venera Sakbun, my father, and the Mrs. Carlene Sakbun. And folks, they just celebrated their 30-year wedding anniversary. So I can give them a round of applause. What an adventurous 6 months. We started the year with new leadership in City Hall. And while we hit the ground running, we also took time to review previous policies and plans while also charting a new path forward for Terre Haute. From a development and quality of life standpoint, we have had some early wins that I am proud to discuss today. I set forth on this journey a few years ago with two goals in mind. How can we grow this community through improved quality of life and workforce opportunities? And second, how can we create a positive and vibrant government that works for the people and with the people? And in just 6 months, I believe that we are on track to accomplish these goals. So let's go ahead and get started with some brief history regarding the CU and Terre Haute Community Plan. In 2019, this community embarked on the CU and Terre Haute Community Plan, and this plan has yielded some accomplishments. We have seen renewed interest in terms of economic development with early wins like the West Central Indiana Business Hub. Our community has started to take strides to address its public health rankings, including programs like the Vigo County School Corporation Coordinated Health Program. From an infrastructure standpoint, this plan helped lead to the Next Level Connections grant, as well as the Homes for the Future program, which we'll touch on later in this update. This community plan also led to several feasibility studies, and the administration was able to use those studies to achieve additional funding, a great example being the Goodwill Excel Center. But, and there's always a but. As time changes, we have felt the need to update the community plan. With new leadership in our school corporation, at our universities, and in City Hall, I felt it best to spend time examining where we were at in terms of results from the previous plan, how did we get here, and where do we need to go in terms of collaboration and funding. Therefore, we started the process of revising and revitalizing our community plan. On the screen above, you're going to see some of the progress that we have made in terms of this new plan. We conducted several surveys and workshops. We're in the process of additional data collection and meeting with key stakeholder groups. Later this fall, we'll deliver a new vision with updated goals and objectives. Our end stage is to deliver a new plan addendum in the fall of 2024. This data and planning is desperately needed. It arms our city planner and grants team with the tools necessary to field competitive applications for transformational project funding. It provides a document that gives community leaders a comprehensive playbook on how to improve Terre Haute, Indiana. As a community, we should strive to continuously update this document. It helps the county, the city, our universities, and our business community identify future projects, fund current projects, and transform Terre Haute, Indiana. I'm confident that this updated plan will improve on previous year successes. From a financial perspective, we've been working around the clock to get our finances in order. Upon my arrival to City Hall, the administration ordered an independent audit on previous practices and policies. This audit revealed several negative fund balances and policies that needed to be updated. You'll see on this screen an operating balance for the end of the year right around $21 million. This is an inflated balance due to funds received from the American Rescue Plan Act. Our true cash reserves is sitting a little under 8%. To put this in perspective, Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, a group that supports municipal government in Indiana, strives for cities to be at a 25% cash reserve. Underneath it's our redevelopment end of the year projected balance. Of course, we do have 2 projects that will likely lower that we're hoping to get started, that we'll touch on later in this presentation. And our sanitary balance, which is also overinflated due to a large bond taken out for the main lift station. Now, as you can see, we've got 5 balances that we started the year from previous groups that were in the negative. Group health. We're going to utilize supplemental lit dollars to decrease the balance and budget for 2025 to bring this balance to 0. Our waste and refuge fund. Folks, that's the trash fee. Historically, we had used sewage dollars to cover a negative trash fee. So very early on, we had to have a hard conversation. How do we go about to increase the trash fee? We took care of our seniors on fixed income and veterans and those who are disabled that have served our nation. But outside of those groups, we were forced to have that hard conversation and increase the trash fee within 6 months. That, however, will balance this account out and ensure that it is not in the negatives year after year. Ray Park. Ray Park is one of our 2 municipal-owned golf courses. However, over the last couple of years, continues to see strong profit year after year after year. So we are firmly in the belief that this account will pay itself off within 3 calendar years. And Home and Links. Home and Links for 19 years has lost money for the City of Terre Haute. Therefore, the City Administration feels that we should move forward with private management of a public golf course. This has been done across the United States and across the state of Indiana multiple times. This simply says, let's let someone who's in the business of golf run the golf course a little bit better than government, which is a common practice that we've seen. And our sanitary general obligation bond, we made some levy adjustments to make sure that that deficit hits 0. Now, here's the challenge. How can government address some of these balances? We had our property tax caps well over 16 years ago that we've known about for years. And the tool to grow as a city has been tried over and over again, and some more successful than Terre Haute. It's quite simple. Increase development through residential builds and commercial projects. Those are able to grow your city's municipal budget. And that has been our goal these last 6 months. Of course, we welcome the casino as well. On this slide, I'll quickly touch gaming revenue. Communities receive funds through a supplemental wagering tax, which is 40% of 2.9% adjusted gross revenue, a wagering tax, property tax, and a local developer agreement. The city has a large role in those first 3, not as much so on the local developer agreement, but our focus is threefold. Increase our cash reserve, improve efficiencies through modern equipment, and some of the equipment that city employees have been using is decades old. I mean, it's definitely older than me. And we want to start transformational projects. So we're looking at a couple of projects, and this is where it gets fun. We're going to address infrastructure and look at wayfinding, moving south to north on the east side from exit 11 all the way towards Poplar. We're looking at transformational projects like the Deming Park pool, which previous groups had shown designs of an updated pool over and over again, and we're tasked with finding the funding to make that happen. And additionally, we are looking to support our YMCA in pursuing a renovation for the YMCA on the banks of the Wabash River. Lastly, 2 other goals that we have for gaming revenue are addressing public health through increased investment in parks and youth investment. The city is looking forward to starting a grant program to provide $50,000 of gaming tax revenue a year for teachers in the STEM fields in the Video County School Corporation starting in 2025. The other way that we can get additional dollars is through grants. We have worked non-stop to apply for federal and state grants to transform Terre Haute, Indiana. Regionalism does continue to be not a problem, but an opportunity for Terre Haute. About January 30th, Ready 2.0 applications were due for West Central Indiana. So the city applied through our RDA for Ready 2.0, and it was a humbling realization. Our region was among the worst in the state of Indiana on how we handle regionalism. This is a wake-up call to stop hitting the snooze button and fully embrace regionalism with our educational partners and the private sector. So we made some quick changes and positioned ourselves to really strive for greatness with the Lilly Endowment application, which focuses on cultural opportunities and blight elimination, and our Lilly Gift Aid application. We said, hey, didn't work out. Let's take the feedback, let's change, let's update. Folks, we made it to the final round of the Lilly Gift Aid application, and even yesterday received an update that we are on track to hopefully receive a $5 million grant for the YMCA on Fairbanks Park. All because we made changes in 3 months. In terms of infrastructure, and I'm really happy that our federal and state partners are here because they've been a huge part in this. We've applied, we are in the process of applying for an active transportation infrastructure improvement grant, as well as some other infrastructure grants focused on our park system, on Highland Chapel, and the Recreational Legacy Partnership Grant. These are not possible without the state legislators that we have and the federal officials that we have. When you look at transportation, the community crossing program is growing because our state legislators said $1 million is not enough for municipalities. Let's do $1.5 million. And we're very thankful for that. Additionally, our Safe Streets for All grant has been a huge help and is allowing us to study specific high-traffic intersections in town. Matri, she's here, right? Yeah. Wave your hand, Matri. She worked around the clock, nonstop for a week to submit the RAISE grant, Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, and the Multi-Model Project Discretionary Grant for a project that we call Destination Wabash. From 3rd Street to 13th, a complete renovation, not just paving, but removing the guts underneath the road that need updated, increasing city right-of-way so that way we can celebrate with outdoor dining and safe sidewalks for our community. Because of her hard work, I'm able to travel to Washington, D.C. next week and pitch this grant to the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. So thank you, Matri, for the work that you've done. Some additional grants that we've been starting to work on. We did receive notice that we are in the final round for the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant. We partnered with IDEM, the state agency, and Terre Haute is being considered for several electric vehicles and charging stations for administrative roles within the city to reduce our gas budget. Additionally, our brownfield grant, which we're preparing for in October, is one of the priorities of our redevelopment office. Can we take a brownfield, apply for EPA funding, work with federal agencies, and turn that brownfield into development? One situation that we were handed is on 19th and Beach. I'm sure many of you have heard about it in the news. So we made a call to our federal partners and our state partners, and they've come out not once, not twice, but 3 times, tested that site, and are in the process of making a budget to pay for emergency cleanup to turn that site into a development-ready site right here in the City of Terre Haute because of the City of Terre Haute's engineering department. So thank you, Marcus and Brad, for that great work. We could go on and on and on about all the grants, all the collaboration that we've done, but this is just some of the highlights when you have an entire city staff rowing in the same direction. I'm very proud that the city department heads were able to be here today and we can shout them out. Public safety remains a top priority for the administration, and from a police perspective, our stats are listed above. We had a very good recruiting class. In the United States of America, departments across the U.S. are seeing lower and lower enrollment applications. We saw 104 people apply for 6 spots to be a cop in the City of Terre Haute. Those are better numbers than Carmel, Indiana. That being said, the fitness test got a handful, and 15 made it to the final round. But most folks aren't getting 100 people apply for 6 spots. And we were happy to see that initial large number, and we are going to develop some training programs to help applicants make it to that final stage. So halfway there when it comes to recruiting. I am very happy, though, to announce that we have started several new task forces with state and federal agencies. We are tackling crimes against children with the Indiana Internet Task Force. We are looking at partnerships that we've restarted with the FBI, ATF, Homeland Security, and DEA. Chief Barrett's not able to be here today because he's prepping for a Secret Service leadership course in our nation's capital. We reached out to several agencies, Kevin and I, and many of them said yes, and they're paying for new positions or supplementing positions right here in the city of Terre Haute, and we're happy to do that. What I'm also happy to talk about today is our department wellness program. When that cop takes their uniform off and goes home, they're a father, a mother, a parent, a sibling, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of. The police department started a wellness program focused on physical health, mental health, and financial health. And time again, we see new members of the department signing up. We're going to take care of you when you put that uniform on and when you take it off. Additionally, we've done 104 community events, this police department, and this year alone. We've started youth programs with the Boys and Girls Club in our middle schools and our high schools. This department continues to show the entire state of Indiana that community policing is not a buzzword. It is a practice, and it is possible, and it started right here in Terre Haute, Indiana. Our social worker program has been met with a lot of success early on. As you can see, there's a lot of encounters, there's a lot of referrals. The number that really, I think, speaks volumes is 53.7% of the referrals led to treatment. So the social worker is not just referring individuals, but helping them get connected with our partners at Hamilton Center, with partners on the Homeless Coalition. We've increased our ability with crisis intervention, we built community trust, and we've increased resource efficiency. Therefore, the administration has made the decision to add a second social worker to the Terre Haute Police Department in 2025. Using opioid settlement dollars, this new position will focus on collaboration in case management and be an additional social worker out in our community. We've got a lot of folks who life just didn't go their way. The cards weren't dealt their way. But what Jerem's been able to do in less than a year in our community is unparalleled across the state. So we're going to get him the support he needs to continue this program and take it to the next level. When it comes to public safety, there's one thing I really want you all to look at. 73% of fire-related calls are due to an EMS reason, or EMS related. 73%. We are in negotiations with the fire union to create common sense shifts and adjust the workload for our men and women who are on the ambulance making 18 runs a day compared to the individuals on the fire trucks and fire engines that make 3 to 5 runs a day. We've got to spread that workload out to make sure that the men and women who join the fire department aren't getting burned out within 5 years and choosing to leave to Avon or Brownsburg. Firehouses need some additional improvements as well. And one thing that Assistant Chief Malone has done is he's worked within the confines of the budget, but he also identified surplus equipment. And he sold that surplus equipment. And he's using those dollars to invest it back into our fire stations and update windows, making them energy efficient, making sure the roof doesn't leak on a young man or woman who's a Terre Haute firefighter and works 24 hours nonstop. These common sense decisions have really helped that department grow. New recruits are badly needed, and we're looking forward to welcoming 17 new recruits. They'll be sworn in later this evening. This department is down to about 127 individuals. It is budgeted for 153. And that strain is starting to take effect on the men and women on the fire department, which is leading to overtime costs. So we're going to get these new 17 individuals in, and we're going to start looking at how can we adjust the recruitment process over the next couple of years to make sure that our firefighters are fully staffed. When it comes to infrastructure, and there's a lot going on here. I get it, there's a lot on this slide. But Marcus has been hard at work on the Brown Avenue Storm Sewer Project, and that's expected to be complete in the fall of 2025. I really cannot keep reading Facebook comments about the overpass. Folks, It is on schedule to go to bid in the fall of 2025. We approved the ARPA funding for it, but this is a project with NDOT. We are having conversations with NDOT to try to move it up. But at the end of the day, since it's a project majority funded by state government, we have to work with them on it. 13th and Wabash, we're doing some intersection improvements, which is a collaboration between City Engineering and the Indiana Department of Transportation. Our Riley Trail, man, Commissioner Mike Morris, he's really been on this one, and him and Mark have helped us a lot with this. This trail connecting the city and county is going to be a win. It's going to be a quality of life improvement, and we're happy to continue to support it. We're doing some design work on Margaret Avenue, and we just approved some design work to start on New Margaret on the east side to address some of the traffic concerns. We've got a lot of money going to paving in 2024, and we'll have even more in 2025. Our sidewalk work order is about 90% complete. But on our roads, we rate all of our roads on a scale of 1 to 5. So we can say, hey, we're going to take care of the lower quality streets before the better quality streets. It's a very clear formula that we use to make sure that every neighborhood is treated the same. Previously, whomever complained the most would usually get their sidewalk fixed faster. That's not a great system, folks. So we made the decision to connect 2 neighborhoods to commercial areas, and we'll bring this to the council in July, but also invest in sidewalk software. I couldn't tell you the name of it, to be completely honest. But this software is going to allow us to map out all of the sidewalks in the City of Terre Haute and create a 10-year budget to update all of the sidewalks in the City of Terre Haute. It leads to pragmatic and smart decision making, and I'm happy that City Engineering brought this to us. We also partnered with Vigo County on a transportation capital improvement plan. Our city's roads, sewers, and sidewalks will see a large increase in attention and funding over the next 3.5 years. Now this slide does get a little bit confusing. There's stormwater, wastewater, there's sewage, but the major takeaway is the city, when we look at sewage updates, we practice what's called integrated planning. Can we address stormwater, wastewater, and sewage all at once? It's a 3-for-1 approach that helps us save dollars over time. Initial estimates are that the City of Terre Haute, over about 25 to 30 years, must spend $290 million in terms of sewage and stormwater. And it seems like a lot, but when you break it out over time, when you deliberately plan out projects, you can start chipping away at that cost and start doing everything, we're doing everything we can to avoid sewage rate increases and find additional dollars to slowly chip away at this. Now to the fun stuff. In 2022, the entire city saw 122 new housing units constructed. So far in 2024, 310 new housing units have either been built or started construction in the City of Terre Haute. We are tripling previous year numbers thanks to our partnership with Thrive, the IEDC, the city, the county, and Terre Haute redevelopment. We are currently in conversation with 5 residential developers on additional projects. And yesterday we had a ribbon cutting for one project, and a lot of folks were saying, oh, well, what are those? Those are $300,000 homes. The data clearly indicates that we need to improve all of our housing stock. As you can see right here, whether it's Mullen Flats, Heritage Landing, Habitat for Humanity Homes, or Thar's Veterans Village, we continue to invest in nonprofit housing and low-income housing. But our housing stock is amongst the oldest in the state. Therefore, we are targeting all home values. And we're very, very proud of that. This has led to numerous new projects like infill housing, nonprofit housing, neighborhood development, the rehabilitation of condemned homes, and senior housing. The goal is simple: to update one of the oldest housing stocks in the state of Indiana. And folks, going from 122 in 12 months to 310 units in 6 months is pretty impressive, and I'm proud of that group that's partnered on that and looking forward to the next few years. The city owns some lots through the Department of Redevelopment, and usually about 20 lots would go a year to developers and builders. Dean Branson and Jordan Marble have been hard at work. And so far in 2024, we've gone from 125 to 81. That's 44 lots that are either committed or already transferred. And our goal is to take that number to 50. This is our infill 32 county-owned parcels that were in city limits. We need those 132 parcels to keep this program going because Dean and Jordan are moving so fast, that 81 is going to hit zero pretty quick. But now we've got some backup with this 132 number. And we're thankful to continue to collaborate with the county. We are building this city back one block at a time and proud of our work in infill housing. When it comes to demolition, I hear about this a lot. Oh, we got to demo more buildings. We got to demo more condemned buildings. We had 225 residential structures on the list January 1st, with a budget that supports about 40 a year. We found some ways internally to increase our demolition numbers by 33% without adding a dollar. And so, as you'll see in July, we're going to take down another 28 homes or commercial buildings in the city of Terre Haute. Additionally, in June of 2024, we made progress on the demolition of the old police department. We reached out to developers across the state and said, hey, we own a property. If we take it down, if we get it site ready, would you be interested in a public-private partnership? We've received a handful of bids already, and we're looking forward to this. Why? Because that's another $20 million in downtown Terre Haute, and a building that was dilapidated and falling apart. These are the redevelopment projects that we need year after year after year to truly grow our community, grow that population, and increase that median income. I hate tearing down homes. I really don't enjoy it. But sometimes it is the right answer. Whether it's negligence from out-of-town landowners who prey on our city's weakest, or homes that have been abandoned for decades, this administration is focused on addressing blight. Almost 90% of our efforts will be north of Wabash in July to tackle this issue in the neighborhoods hit hardest by the pandemic and the neglect for decades. I'm looking forward to continuing to partner with the county and the RDA to position for a Lilly Endowment Grant and hopefully receive more dollars, not just for Terre Haute, but for Sullivan, Vermilion, Park County, and tackle blight at the regional level so that way we can begin to build back and build faster than South Bend, than Evansville, than Elkhart. We are taking a regional approach to housing. We are taking a regional approach to blight. And we hope to begin to lead the state instead of finish at the bottom of the state in terms of regionalism. Redevelopment is also hard at work with infrastructure improvements. HUD continues to invest in Terre Haute through the Community Development Block Grant. The Seabury Avenue project is a great example of this. This is a predominantly low-income neighborhood. We're not just going to update the sidewalks, we're going to do a curb-to-curb replacement, new stormwater, new wastewater, pave the streets. These are projects that connect neighborhoods like this to community parks, and we're looking forward to doing several more in the next couple of years. But on top of infrastructure, housing, and development, we've also started to tackle workforce development. Workforce readiness and development are crucial to our community's future. Programs like the Excel Center, Vigo County CEO, the Intern Experience, and recruitment initiatives led by the Wabash Valley Building Trades will transform our local economy. Our collegiate partners renewed efforts on connecting with local businesses during the recruitment process. And we took notice. We don't want students to come here for 4 years. We want them to live here for 40 years. The administration is proud to lead from the front with this. Austin, raise your hand. Austin's a 2-time graduate from Indiana State University with a master's and an undergrad. In just 4 weeks at City Hall, Austin has rewritten 7 city ordinances that had not been updated in 2 decades. Kate, raise your hand. Kate goes to Indiana University, my alma mater. No Hoosiers. And Sycamores, of course. In just a few short weeks, Kate's helped our communications department improve efficiencies. They were going door to door with flyers telling people, please move your car so when the street sweeper drives by, we can sweep the street. Projects like that. I mean, these two work nonstop, and they're college students. When we say we want to increase the amount of students who stay in Terre Haute, this administration said, okay, we're going to lead from the front. And we're happy that Austin and Kate are joining us here this summer. Overall, in terms of economic development, of course, Intech was a great win for our community, as is Amazon's hub delivery facility. Zinc Power and recently GATX started the process of their expansion within city limits. But folks, we've got some work to do here. My goal in 2025 is to increase the IEDC's presence in West Central Indiana regarding site selection and recruitment of businesses. The Terre Haute EDC and my office will continue to improve work and our presence in Indianapolis, because that's where a lot of the decisions are made for the state, whether you like it or not. We've got to be present. We've got to reach out to communities that are bringing in billion-dollar facilities every 3 years instead of every 30 years. And that is our goal. But why? Why us? How can we do it, not other communities? Folks, it's the Terre Haute difference. Not only do we have a desirable supply chain with an airport and I-70, very few communities are lucky enough to have 4 universities in their town. ISU, Rose-Hulman, St. Mary of the Woods College, and Ivy Tech. All of these universities help fill our workforce. And I know that the state of Indiana continues to look at advanced manufacturing and engineering and data centers, and they're very obsessed with this school that's black and gold called Purdue. But just so everyone knows, Rose-Hulman is a better engineering school for Purdue, and I certainly hope our next governor recognizes that and starts to invest more in Terre Haute, Indiana. I had to do it once. When it comes to tourism, the CVB and the city have been aggressive in marketing the Wabash Valley's numerous events. The Mill provides world-class entertainment on the banks of the Wabash. Laverne Gibson Cross Country Course remains a premier racing destination for cross-country athletes across the United States. Tourism is one of the many pillars of our local economy and provides employment for thousands of Hautians. And folks, we've had a great year when it comes to tourism. From the Terre Haute Air Show, Rick, that's your hand wave, good enough, to the Larry Bird Museum opening, and he's pretty tall to stand next to, so that's one that I'll have to wear taller shoes on next time he comes to town. And the Special Olympics that brought in 6,000 athletes and their families. These are the events that put Terre Haute on the map. But it's what we do at these events that really adds value. Using geofencing, we are able to target these visitors while they're in Terre Haute. We run ads on Facebook, Instagram, online, directly to their cell phone. So that way when they come to town, they don't just leave. They choose to stop at the Copper Bar or Scout's Pizzeria. They choose not just to go straight to the casino and leave. We want them to spend their dollars in our community. So due to deliberate efforts to target, we saw a 94% increase in unique visitors in the first quarter of 2024. If we had done that on Wall Street, on the stock market, we would be famous. But because we do it in municipal government, not a lot of folks notice. And I'm very proud of the work that Karen has done as our new director of the CVB. Thank you, Karen. As I mentioned earlier, we have a growing presence in our nation's capital and in Indianapolis. And I say this time and time again, we will not let partisan politics hamper progress in the city of Terre Haute. I know there's a lot of noise out there in Indianapolis and in DC. We stay out of that. It doesn't matter if you have a red jersey or a blue jersey. If you put a jersey on to fight for the city of Terre Haute, I will work with you. On the federal level, in December, we had the opportunity to meet with, at the time, Senator Braun and Senator Todd Young, who spent a lot of time with us, talking about funding for the 181st, talking about improvements to I-70. Senator Young took over an hour and a half to meet with the Terre Haute delegation to walk through West Central Indiana. And we will always remember that here. Additionally, when it comes to EPA assistance, Department of Transportation grants, Congressman Larry Bucshon was one of the first to write us a letter of support, which helped us make it to the final stages of this latest grant application. Those are the partnerships that we need. we had several State House days in our state's capital, focused on supporting our higher educational institutes, project funding for capital projects, child care funding, regionalism funding, housing initiatives, and public and mental health funding. As a city, we have improvement as a city staff, and we are looking at starting new partnerships, working with some of the organizations already in town, and improving our public health and mental health rankings. I'm very proud of the work that we're doing in terms of advocacy. As you guys all saw on the grant slide, we went from applying for maybe one of those a year to applying for 16 in just 6 months. And whether we get 1, 2, 3, or hopefully all of them, that work is eventually going to pay off. So thank you to the city staff, our state legislators, and our federal partners for being here today. When it comes to our parks, Kylie, so happy you're here. The work that Kylie and Eddie in that parks department has done is very, very noticeable. We have seen increased programming. Of course, the solar eclipse, that was great. Everyone got to experience that. But now we're hosting park pickleball tournaments, swim lessons, astronomy classes, fishing classes, Native American connection programs, seniors hanging out at Collette Park, the public library and park summer challenges. I hear it all the time, well, there's nothing to do in Terre Haute. Well, if you check out the work that Kylie and that parks department is doing, you are very quickly going to find that there is always something to do in a park in the city of Terre Haute, Indiana. We've got some new programs starting in 2024. Pups in the pool, community markets, pottery, pickleball again. The pickleball stuff is really, really picking up. But I'm not very good at it. I'll be honest there. But we are looking forward to expanding on pickleball across our community in 2025 and 2026. What's even more important, as you can see here, we started our Ray Park upgrades. That's American Rescue Plan project, a READY project, and a partnership with Friends of Ray Park. And later this summer, we will invest in Hertz Rose Park, one of our hardest hit neighborhoods, and give it an entire facelift. But on top of some of those projects, we've also started planning for a 5-year Parks Master Plan. It's been over 6.5 years since we've done a 5-year Parks Master Plan. It doesn't make sense when you say it, but it's the truth. We need this master plan to apply for state and federal grants. It is a requirement to have. So we've started to kick off a project. Our goal is to create a visionary plan reflective of Terre Haute's re-energized commitment to parks and recreation in our city. We started focus group meetings. On July 4th, the largest event that the city parks has at Fairbanks for the fireworks show, you'll see a couple of booths where anyone from the public can offer their feedback on the City of Terre Haute's Parks Department. And in August, we'll do an additional public meeting. These meetings are important because it helps us set the budget for casino dollars over the next 10 years to completely transform our park system. So to all of our parks employees, thank you for the hard work, and we're looking forward to see what you do the next couple of years. Downtown Terre Haute. Of course, you'll see here below some images from our Destination Wabash project, but we partnered with Indiana State University to rally behind our basketball team and bring blue to downtown. Of course, we had a great event with the CIB at the Larry Bird Museum and the solar eclipse. Terre Haute's population is 58,337. It went up 1 because he delivered a baby last night. That being said, we are on pace to see $84 million invested in our downtown in 1 calendar year. To put that into perspective, over $1 million is being invested in Terre Haute per person in our city. And that's a pretty big win that we're very proud of. Whether it's the old police department being torn down, or Destination Wabash, or new hotels coming to the City of Terre Haute, we look forward to continued downtown development in 2025 and beyond. This is not Dora the Explorer. This is Dora, a designated outdoor refreshment area. The state legislature over a year ago signed a new law that allows folks of age to have an adult beverage outside in a downtown environment. As you can see here, the city is exploring 2 Doras, one along Wabash and one in our brewery district. This will allow our outdoor vendors and our events to offer outdoor drinking in a safe, responsible manner. We did leave off ISU for obvious reasons there, probably not the best to see the pikes running around saying, well, we got a door now. But we're looking forward to the boost that this will provide our local bar and restaurants. And we're probably going to bring this one to the City Council around August or September of this year. Now lastly, as we slowly start to wrap up, the Riverfront Master Plan. At the end of last year, we started a new master plan. Create a long-term plan that inspires investment in public-private partnerships in Terre Haute and Vigo County. And it sounds good and it sounds great. I spent a couple of days in Fort Wayne. And 20 years ago, a mayor there started this plan, and he's since passed, Mayor Tom Henry. And he saw year after year after year, hundreds of millions of dollars poured into his community because of a plan like this. So this is a note that we took from his playbook, and we're happy to start because, why not us? Let's build and develop our riverfront. The Mill's doing a great job for us. Outdoor concert venue, always looking at expansions. The city, we're going to put some skin in the game and invest in Fairbanks Park and the YMCA. And developers have taken notice. We started collaborating with the city, the county, Riverscape, Thrive, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and our goals are simple. Drive economic development, protect and enhance the riverfront, safe access to the river. This will give us a 10 to 15-year roadmap to bring to developers and offer true public-private partnerships. In closing, before we get to questions, I acknowledge that we need to improve in a lot of areas. Whether it's public health and partnering better with the county when it comes to Health First Indiana funds. That's our goal for 2026, and improve our relationships there. Collaboration when it comes to the homeless, not just at the city level, but at the regional level. So that way our partners and our neighbors don't also suffer on this issue. Regionalism. As I've hit time and time again as a community, we must do better at regionalism. Fort Wayne does not advocate just for Fort Wayne. They advocate for their entire region, regardless of political party, regardless of if it's a city or county project or neighboring project. And that's our goal, is improve there and do better. Part of that is other local elected officials in surrounding counties understanding that economic development, that entire budget does not just go to road paving. It goes to transformational projects like the Homes for the Future program that we started with Thrive. Again, we have tripled an entire year's housing numbers in just 6 months. And Ryan and I spoke at a Fort Wayne housing conference to members from across the state about the work that we're doing here in Terre Haute. And it's getting noticed, and we'll continue to do that at a regional scale. Updating city codes. We've brought over a dozen ordinances to the city council already this year. But the entire code continues to needs to be updated. To our contractors, who've done a great job building commercial and residential homes, we owe them a city building code that is updated to reflect the state code. And we've not delivered on that just yet. We're hoping to modernize public safety. There's equipment concerns, archaic districts on how they've been scheduled year after year, addressing ambulance runs and shifts. And lastly, we hope to fund designs from previous administrations. We all remember sitting in this room over a year ago when a $100 million sports complex was showed. It's a great design, and we'll continue to fight for it. But the funding wasn't there then, and it's still not there now. And our goal is to find funding to transform Terre Haute through projects like the sports complex, Deming Park's pool, the YMCA, and the Indiana Theater. Thank you guys for sitting through this long presentation. And now we get to the fun part. It is not Facebook comments, it is actually questions. Josh Ray New York.
Yeah, let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Mayor. And then we had a couple of pre-submitted questions on our form. First, we're going to go to Rick Berger, and I actually think this question is not about the air show, which is surprising.
Oh, that's smart.
Rick, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Job well done. Very aggressive and continue to fight for Terre Haute. Thank you. My question is, how have you created partnerships with the county?
That's a really good question. So from an engineering standpoint, luckily, Larry used to work for the city. So Larry and Marcus work very well when it comes to engineering. And from a commissioner and mayor standpoint, yes, the 3 county commissioners supported Duke Bennett in last election. But the day after the election, they were very quick to reach out, to begin partnerships, to work together. Mark and I, we sit on that housing steering committee, and honestly, I truly believe this. We are blessed to have a home builder on that committee and as commissioner. I bring questions all the time when it comes to housing. I mean, you saw the tripling previous year numbers. Great to have his input. Mike has been awesome to work with when it comes to some of these trails and these parks and collaboration between those 2 departments. And Chris being on the CIB, it's been really fun supporting him. He's worked nonstop on this theater. The community, time and time again, they say they want it, they say they want it, they say they want it. He takes one step forward and does something positive for the theater, and all of a sudden they come out, swinging at him, which is pretty frustrating for me, because I'm watching him do everything he can to get that project's budget, to find grants to apply for, and do it in a responsible fiscal manner. I've really enjoyed working with all of our commissioners, as well as our county council. So that's a very diverse group on that. And they've been fun to work with, to communicate with when it comes to ARPA projects, but just additional projects as well. And happy Marie's here with us today. So good question, I've enjoyed it.
All right, next we will go to John Collette.
You briefly touched on higher ed on your economic development slide. And next time, I hope you might even have the logo of the Vigo County School Corporation, because they're going to be the ones supplying a lot of the labor and employees for these economic development opportunities. That said, can you expand on the collaboration with higher ed and the Vigo County School Corporation within your administration?
Yeah, so we'll start with higher education. So part of that is, and we actually suffered from this in Ready 2.0, we didn't have a good regional plan that included our universities. We identified that, said, hey, those are previous practices, we're going to change that. We've got a new president, and we were here together yesterday at Indiana State. I frequently meet with Leanne and St. Mary of the Woods College, as well as Rose Holman. And we've started to say, okay, what are your projects over the next 5 years? How do they fit the region? Are there IEDC regional grants that these apply to? Or how can the city support you in those endeavors? But that's like the physical, when you see the buildings, the improvement. We also are working on how can we make sure every business in the Chamber of Commerce knows how to use Handshake, which is the #1 recruitment portal that universities use now, to start to recruit our kids when they're 18 and 19, and not when they're 22 after they've seen numerous job offers outside of Terre Haute. So there's some of those harder projects that you see and softer projects that are kind of behind the doors, behind the scenes. But those are just some of the ways that we do work together. School corporation. So when it comes to the school corporation, of course, we are working on a grant to provide the Vigo County School Corporation for teachers in the STEM fields. That's an idea that we got outside of Terre Haute. Public education funding has been difficult over the years. So the city said, well, let's step up and help these STEM fields. But also we work with the Vigo County CEO program to grow that relationship, expose those kids to what government does, and supporting our building trades. They've got a great program where they build homes in the city of Terre Haute. So Dean and redevelopment working with them, finding future lots for homes for them to build on. So those are just some of the ways that we work with our higher education partners in the Vigo County School Corporation.
That was all of the questions we had submitted online, so now I will turn it back over to Chris.
Mayor, thank you. You did a fantastic job, and it is a little bit before 10 o'clock, so awesome. All right, thank you all for being here today. And again, thanks to our title sponsor, AT&T of Indiana. 2 events I want to note. We have done the county update, now we've done the city update, and next on our list is an education update. So that will be August 1st. We'll include all 4 of our higher ed institutions along with the Vigo County School Corporation, providing some updates on what they are working on individually, as well as some collaborations they're working on. So August 1st, mark your calendars, more information will be coming soon. Also, August 22nd, you can come back and join us right here again at the Convention Center for the Chamber's 110th annual meeting. So I'm looking forward to having you for that. One last thing before we close, I want to thank the amazing team here at the Convention Center. They always allow us to put on a fantastic event, as well as my team at the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce, including Josh and Jessica, who kind of managed to keep this somehow on the rails. So thank you all again for being here today. Mayor, again, thank you. We really appreciate your time.